Hey there! So, in this video, we'll be talking about budgeting. And I believe this is a couple lessons put together, but this is sort of everyday common sense, things that you have to learn if you're living on your own or trying to survive on your own. Okay, so let's get started. So, what is net earnings? Net earnings is the amount of money you're collecting minus all the deductions. So, obviously, um, like for instance, if you're a teacher, you're paying like teaching dues, you gotta pay like insurance, you gotta pay a lot of things. So those are expenses. So net earnings is the total money I'm pulling in minus the money that's coming out. And then whatever I get back, that is my net earning. That's what I see. That is what jumps into my bank account every pay period. So that's what you see in your bank account every pay period. So sometimes you may be disappointed. You're looking at your contract, and your contract may say you're making a lot of money, but you're not seeing that money going into your bank account because a good amount of that money often is are expenses that is taken by either the government or your job itself. So yeah. Okay, so let's go through some examples. It says here Dylan worked after school on weekends and he saved 10% of his earnings in an account designated for long-term savings. He's paid bi-weekly. So there are 26 bi-weekly per year. So that's important information to know. Calculate the amount that Dylan saves from each paycheck. So each paycheck, he's saving only 10% for each paycheck. So let's calculate that here. So for each, let me go, sorry about that. So for March, I'm gonna say March 17th. What do he make? Well, let's take a look at his pay. So his pay will basically it is 10% is 0.1. That's in decimal form. You convert percentage in decimal and you multiply it by the net earnings, which was 212.98. Okay, let's do March. Oh, I did spell March wrong. March 31st. Same thing. Oops, we can put that back. Bracket 0.01. This case will be 244.30. This will be April 14th. Again, 0.010 multiplied by 19209. And April 28th. Point zero, not zero. Is it one? No, no, it's not zero. There's no zero there. So let me just make that correction. Oops. There's a yeah. I have to make a correction, sir. Let me just get an eraser and let's erase this. And let's erase that. There we go. All fixed. Get my pencil. And this is 28 0.1. That is 10%. And this is 263.87. Okay, so when you add them all up, we add them, add, you get about well actually it doesn't ask you to add them. Okay. All it's asking you is how much what he took home every paycheck. So this is it right here. Let me get those numbers for you. But let me first erase that here so I don't need this. And let's drop those numbers in. Get the pencil tool right here. Okay, so this one will equal 21 yeah, 21 point 3. This one will be 24.43. This will be 1920 or 1921. And this one is 26 39. And that's it. Estimate the amount Dylan can save in 1 year. Okay, so let's first calculate the total biweekly pay there is. So let's add these all these values here. These are biweekly. So let's add them all up. So let's get the total equals 21.30 plus 24.43 plus 19.21 plus 26.39. And that should be about $91.33, and that is per biweekly. Per biweekly. So for the total year and the total year, well, the question is how many biweeklies are there in a year? Well, I know that there is. Oh, actually, let me take a look here. Okay, so in order for you to do this, you would first have to get the average of what you have biweekly. So I got the total amount, and over here I'm just gonna put the average, the average pay. So basically, it's a total amount to be 91.33. And how many payments were there? There were four payments. So divided by four. So four payments altogether, and we get the average. And I believe we should get an average of, was it 28? 28. Oops, my mistake. 2283. 22.83. That's his average that he gets per paycheck. So therefore, in 1 year, well, first of all, how many biweeklies are in a year? Well, I wrote it up here. There are 26 biweeklies per year. So there'd be 26 of these payments. So in 1 year, it's about 26. That's how many biweeklies are there per year, multiplied by this average amount, 22.83. And therefore, you should have $598 dollars. There we go. Okay, let's move on. So fixed expenses. What are fixed expenses? They're expenses that come in on the regular, that they don't change much. And often that would be your mortgages and your property taxes, um, and so on and so forth. And regular variable expenses are things that change, like your entertainment. Some maybe 1 week you like to eat out and maybe next week you don't. So variable expenses are expenses that changes in frequency from one period to the next. Okay, let's do a problem. Here, let's read this one. This is an apartment with fixed and variable expenses. So May is in her third year of college and is a tenant in the basement apartment of a house. Her rent is $525 plus utilities. So she's paying utilities separately. So that's what her rent is. Every 2 months, she receives an electric bill that averages to 103. For every 4 months, she receives a water bill for about $220, and every month she receives a cable television bill, which is about, well, it's an expense. It's not considered a utility, but she's still paying for it, so it's $53 every month. And she also purchased a $10 cellular plan. So it's asking you calculate May's total average expenses. Okay, so let's list them out. We have here rent, which is about 525, right? We have here an electric bill that she pays an average. Okay, so she uses every 2 months. So electric, they say electric, yeah, electric, which is 100, but that's every 2 months. So you divide that number by two. Okay. What else do we have? We have the water bill, and that is approximately $220, and we receive that water bill every 4 months. So we can divide that by 4 to figure out what the monthly water bill is. Again, we're dividing this by 2 to get the monthly electric bill because this is every 2 months. So what else do we have? We have the here television. That's every month. So TV, that's about $53. That's every month. And we also have a cell phone, so your phone, and that is about $10 per month. Okay, so this gets carried on. This is a 525. That one there is this one here is about $65. This one here is 55. And this one just gets carried on to 53, and this one here is 10. Okay, so we add this all up. If we add it all up, we should get about $708. So that is the total expense that she's per month. Okay, next question. Oh, it's about talk property tax. Okay, so property tax. I pay property tax. Taxes are charged to the property owner by the by the city itself, the city, to pay for several local services such as education, police, so on and so forth, library, snow removal, education. Funny enough, it looks like if you're in the school and you're not paying anything, it's because I'm probably paying for your education. So you're welcome. So a condominium is basically an apartment that is owned by like a bunch of residents. So it's like a house, except you guys a bunch of people own it. You guys own it together, whereas a house you own it individually. So you have expenses from a condominium, and they're called common fees, and they're just like property taxes. They're like every owner should be paying for the expense of maintaining a pool, maintaining a gym, or whatever you have at that condominium. Okay, let's look at the next problem. So this is an expense associated with owning a condominium. It says here Gail is retired with a fixed income of 900 a month or 1,900 per month. She lives in a one bedroom apartment in a three-story building. That's all irrelevant information, just so you know. Her mortgage payments are $618 per month. The common fees associated with the condo are about 325 per month. She receives a bi-monthly bill for about $130 and a quarterly water bill for $180. Okay, so we're gonna have to convert all those into months. So calculate Gail's fixed monthly expenses. Okay, her fixed monthly expenses, in short, is basically what she's paying in her mortgage payment and the common fees. So over here is the mortgage, more, I think it's, yeah, that's how you spell it, mortgage. That is about 618 per month. That's good. That's per month. The common fees, that is about 325 per month. Okay, so those are only two fixed expenses, and that should come out to be about, we add them together, 943. $943 altogether. That's what her fixed expense. Now let's calculate her average monthly expenses. Okay, so what does she have for monthly expenses? So what's that's done? She has she has electric bill. She has a bi-monthly electric bill. So electric, and it's bi-monthly, so it's every 2 months. So this value here, 103, you divide that by two, because this value here, the $130, you get that bill every 2 months. So per 1 month, it should be a little bit less. I'll calculate that in a second. Let me just get the other one, which is a quarterly water bill, so that your water. A quarterly is talking about per year, so a quarter of a year is 3 months. So first one, let me write that number down. It's 180. So when you see quarterly, what they mean is 3 months, because if there's 12 months in a year and a quarter is essentially three of that month. So you just divide that by three. Okay, so let's calculate that. We have here $65 per month. Well, we have $65. And over here we have $60, right? So together, this will add up to 125 per month. That's dollars. So that's your monthly expenses. On average, how much of her income is left over? Well, we know what her total income is. If you look up here, her total income is 1900 or 1900. So you write down her what her net is. We call it the net. The net is 1900 or 100 1900, and we're going to minus all her expenses. Now we have her fixed expenses, which is 943, and we have her utility expenses, which is 125. So altogether, what she's walking away with at the end of the month is about 832. The dollar sign there, $832. So that's what she's left over with per month. Okay, let's move on. What is a budget? A budget is it's basically how you organize your income. So you have the month when you're pulling in, your expenditures, and when you subtract them, that's the balance. So when you balance a budget is when the money coming in equals the money going out, including your savings. So ideally, you would like to balance your budget, and in your budget, you will also have a savings section where the rest of your money goes. Okay, let's take a look at a problem. Create a budget. Julian is in grade 12. He works a part-time job after school and on weekends. His weekly earnings for the month were this amount, that amount, this amount. So there's 3 months there, 4 months. Weekly earnings for the month. So basically this is per month. Julian saves $200 a month for college. His car is paid for and his insurance costs, well, it has a lot of expenses, 123 per month. He spends about approximately $75 per month on fuel and approximately $100 on entertainment. It says here to create a budget for Julian. So what we'll need here is a table. And I'm gonna make a table. And so I'm gonna go week, like first week, second week, third week, fourth week. Over here, I'm going to say income. And over here, I'm going to put down expenses. Okay. Income, expenses. We have a table here. And we have our total, because we want a total. And a total here as well. Here. And a balance on the bottom. It's basically the income minus the income minus the expenses. Okay, let's write down her income. Her income is 136.74. For week 2 is 188.20. For week 3 is 209.38. And week 4 is 173.66. Okay, now let's look at the expenses. His college. So he's saying for college, that's about $200. And his insurance, I'm gonna say insure, and that's $123. And his fuel, fuel. It says here his fuel is on fuel at $75. And his entertainment, I'm gonna say entertain, and that is about $100. Now let's calculate the total. In total, this should be about 707. $707.98. And here it should be 400. Oops, this should be in dollars. They all should be in dollars. $498. And so to see what the balance is, you have to minus the income, the income minus the expenses. So we have here $707.98 minus the expenses, which is 498, and that should give you a total of 209.98. There we go. That's the balance. And you can say it's a positive balance, so he's actually saving some money. So down here it says explain Julian's end of the month balance. You don't really have to say much. You can say that he has a positive balance of $209. Oops, 98, which he can put into his savings, more into his savings. Okay, this is a long lesson. Let's do the last one. So example 5. Here, Mikkel and Jenny has 3 children and they own four-bedroom house. This year, their car insurance increases by 5%, grocery expenses rose by 10%, and their home heating costs rose by 15%. Their monthly budget for last year is shown. This budget's for last year, but they've changed. You have expenses have changed, have grown. Calculate the changes to their monthly budgets. Okay, well, I'm just gonna calculate the increases that happen, the increased amounts, because later on, that will help us for our next calculation. So I'm gonna type here the increases. What are the increases are? So, the first one is car insurance. So I'm gonna say, oh, let me just write down increase there. Insure. What's the insurance increase? Well, the insurance increase is what was his previous insurance? His car insurance previously was 188, and it increased. It increased by 5% up here, say 5%. So you put 0.05, and that should be about 94, 9.4. So he's paying an extra of $9.4. What else increased? Well, groceries. So I'm gonna say groceries. Groceries. They also increased. What previously groceries were $800, and it increased by 10%. Just so you know, I'm writing this 800 multiplied by 0.01, but I can also do 0.01 multiplied by 800. In multiplication, doesn't matter which order you go in. So please don't get confused with that. So groceries will be about $80. Oops, $80 more. So that's the extra. You're paying extra $80. And lastly, heating. Was he paid previously for heating? Here it says about $220, and it increased by 15%. So I put in 0.15, and that should equal $33. An extra $33. Good. So what is the expense increase? The expense increase, if you add them all up, they will equal $122 when you add them all up. So that's the increased expense. So this last question is rebalance the budget. So because you need, this is an increase in your expense, $122. That's an increase. So you have to look through your bill and see where can I find it. Like basically you're gonna have to subtract from one of these. I can tell you right here, let's take a look here. I would say groceries is about 800. Well, if you maybe subtract from groceries, so if you rebalance the bill, if you have your groceries, which was actually maybe that's it, maybe entertainment. So maybe get rid of the entertainment. So if your entertainment is about $200, that's entertainment right here, and you reduce your entertainment by this amount. It's 122. If you reduce your entertainment, and if you do that, we should have about $78. So here, entertainment, instead of putting $200 for entertainment, we might want to put $78 for entertainment because we have to take the money from somewhere to rebalance the budget. So the best place to take it is would be here. And yeah, I think that's about it. You don't have to take it from it. You can take it from charities. You can not give charities. You can take it from the children's accounts. You can take it from anywhere. But I would say entertainment's a probably a good place to take it away because it's not an essential. It's not essential for you to live. Okay, that's about it. That's the end of this lesson.